Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group on YouTube. Today we are doing a top 5 matches and we are doing it for the Japanese legend Minoru Suzuki, my absolute favourite Japanese wrestler. One of the main reasons that I watched New Japan for a long period of time was for Suzuki. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. He's brilliant talent. He's so brutal in the ring. His facial expressions are absolutely hilarious. So I thought, you know what? It's time to do top 5. Suzuki, I mean, he's faced literally everyone in the game, hasn't he? Even, obviously, he's faced everyone in New Japan. He's come over and done some matches for the likes of AEW. He's even done like Rev Pro and stuff like that. So, you know, what better person to look at than Suzuki? So first of all, I just want to have a quick shout out to David Anderson, who obviously sorts all my thumbnails out for my episodes of YouTube, you know, me top 5s. He always sorts me out, and he's done another absolute superb job for the Suzuki one. So thank you to David for sorting me out. Never charges either. He's a good friend of the Wrestling Group podcast. Also, shout out to Corbin Skipworth. He sorted me with his New Japan World access, so I can view obviously different pay-per-views from New Japan, which is on live now, and obviously stuff from the past, which makes something like this very easy because you just scroll through and you can just type in the wrestler's name and go through all the matches that's available there. So thank you to him as well. As like I say, Suzuki is a he's a brilliant wrestler. I mean, if you don't know who Suzuki is, then I've got 5 matches here for you to go away and check out. But I'll be surprised if there's anyone that's actually clicked on this video that doesn't know who the king is. So yeah, I'm going to run down from 5 obviously being the lowest and 1 being the highest, what I deem to be his best match. So feel free as always to comment in the comment section with your top 5 Suzuki matches. Let me know what you think of my picks, if there's any that should be in or shouldn't be in. That's always fun to have that feedback and find out what other people think in regards to their top 5. So for this, I've decided to go with 5 completely different wrestlers as well, 5 different opponents, because like I say, he's had a massive history in wrestling. Was now about 35 years in the game, so it just be, you know, it made things 10 times harder. It was already hard as it is anyway, to be able to pick just 5, but it'd be even harder if it had, say, so I've picked 5 different opponents. So obviously if I pick from the same person, I could end up with basically 5 matches from the same 2 people. So I've gone with 5 different opponents and there's 5 best matches. So we'll start with number 5, and I've gone for shock Tomohiro Ishii. Like, I think Suzuki and Ishii are perfect opponents for each other. I would literally watch them face every single week. I think they are both brilliant. The matches just seem to get better and better. You know, they faced years ago, they faced for titles, they faced in the G1, they faced pay-per-views. You know, they've done everything that they can do against each other, and I love watching them fight. So I've gone for their match at G1 Climax 30. So, and that was what, 2020. So obviously, as you'd expect, it's an absolute banger of a match. You can go on New Japan World. It's listed up there, so you'll be able to find it if you are a member of New Japan World. You can get it on there. And like I say, it's an absolute banger. Literally from the get-go, it turns into a slugfest at the beginning. Hard-hitting, brutal match. It looks stiff as hell. The elbow shots are just unreal. The chops as well. You know, brutal headbutts at one point. They were just nutting each other as well. But like I say, these 2 I will watch literally every single week, and it was hard to actually pick just the one match from these 2. Like, there's the match at Windy City as well, from last year, which was phenomenal. But I've gone with this one, as I believe it's their best match that they've had when they face each other, and Suzuki gets the win with this one. He counters a suplex, hits his God-style power driver for the victory, and gets the free call. And I think it was the opening day, if I remember rightly, it was the opening day in G130. He missed the year before, and they hadn't included him in G129. So he felt like he had a point to prove, and he did so straight away with a big victory against Tomohiro Ishii on night one. And also, the main thing I love about these matches is there never really seems to be someone that's on top for a long period of time. It's normally a hell of a lot of 50-50. It's a lot of back and forth, you know, move for move, shall we say. You know, we have different wrestlers from different eras and different styles and stuff, but you know, sometimes you have it where a wrestler will dominate a match for pretty much the whole match, and then, you know, they do the underdog comeback and end up losing the match because the other person who they've dominated 70% of the match comes up and gets the win. This isn't a case when these two face. It's pretty much always even right up until the end, and it keeps you guessing, which is another reason why I love watching them fight, because it literally, they feel like they're at that level where either one can win at any time. So I think this is a perfect match and an absolute perfect opponent for Suzuki. So that is number 5. Going on to number 4. Like I say, there's so many matches I watched with this. Probably about 20-30 Suzuki matches over the last 2 weeks. It's hard to narrow down to just 5. This could have easily been top 5, top 10, top 20, top 30. But I really didn't want the videos to be running as long as what they could have. Maybe we should have done it in a 3-part. Maybe we should have done 30 to 20, 20 to 10, and 10 to 1. But never mind. We're going with number 4, and I've gone for this match against Jon Moxley, which is no surprise. If you know anything about me, you know I'm a massive Jon Moxley fan. So I've gone for this match against Jon Moxley for the IWGP United States Championship at New Beginning. So these two have faced each other again numerous times. I feel like the perfect opponents, same as Ishii. A lot of brutality always in their matches, and I think it brings out the more violent side of Suzuki. Well, I mean, he's violent anyway, isn't he? His nickname's Murder Grandpa, but like the weapon style, the hardcore style of Suzuki, you get to see that a lot more when they face. You know, this match wasn't necessarily a no DQ match, but the use of chairs, tables, and everything else happens in it because, you know, it's New Japan, and a lot a lot of that doesn't really matter because they leave it up to the referee to decide. And in this, I will say, in this, I remember, well, I say I remember, I only watched it yesterday, so that's why I remember, but I remembered anyway that at the time, it's about 2019, so Jon Moxley was in AEW and he was going for the AEW World Championship. If you remember, he had the storyline with Chris Jericho. So in it, Chris Jericho stabs him in the eye, so he ends up having to wear an eye patch for a little bit of time. So when he comes out to this match, he starts and he's got his eye patched up. And the commentator does a good job of saying why. Obviously, for people who don't watch AEW is still relatively new at the time. So he's wearing this eye patch, and then throughout the match, it just starts getting loose and loose, and it ends up coming off, and he ends up with this like bandage, like a plaster thing on his eye at one point, and then it starts lifting up, and you can clearly see there's not really anything wrong with his eye, and then it ends up coming off during the match, and he's just like, so that, because I think at first he was messing with it a bit, but he's like, so that it just gets well into the match gets finished, and then I always remember on Dynamite, because obviously a lot of us that watch AEW, especially at the beginning, watched New Japan, and then come Dynamite, he's there with the eye patch on again. It's sort of like, we've seen it. You can't just pretend that because it's a different company that we don't watch more than one company. But I get for obviously the people who did say it, but you could have just shown like a little 2-minute clip or whatever. But yeah, so I always remember him putting the eye patch back on, and I was like, oh my god. Anyway, so, you know, another high intensity, fast paced match. It starts with Mox up the ramp, and he's like that to Suzuki, come on, let's go. Suzuki picks up a chair, picks up a second chair, they go up the ramp, chucks Mox a chair, and then they start dueling with these chairs, trying to get the upper hand on each other, which I thought was brilliant. Most of the match, to be honest with this one, was outside the ring. You know, like I say, there was use of chairs, there was use of a table. You know, a table gets it. I mean, we've seen the thickness as well of the New Japan tables. They are really thick, like WE tables, AEW tables, not much difference either. The New Japan tables, the thickness like that, and the amount of times you've seen a big spot a table spot, and the table doesn't go through, but the wrestler's in agony because of how thick and strong these tables are in New Japan. At one point during the match, Suzuki puts Mox on the table, so he's like head down, pulls his arm out, puts a chair, so he opens the chair up, puts it on his arm, gets another chair, smashes it down, so he's trying to break his arm, which is great, because then the referee's like, please don't do that, because it's not a no DQ match, which I thought was just funny. And I get it, you know what, like, it should be referee's discretion. I don't like the fact that an eye poke in certain promotions can get like a disqualification, because at the end of the day, like a big massive title match, why would you call DQ on that? You'd let it go as long as you could. You know, obviously there's a bit of a difference. Someone does a full headshot with a chair and then just pins him, you know, that's completely different. But a bit of back and forth, who doesn't want that? So after Mox gets his arm smashed between the chairs, Suzuki gets him on the ring apron and puts an arm bar on him. So Suzuki's down with the arm bar, trying to get an arm breaker, you know, put more pressure on his arm on the ring apron. Mox picks him up, turns around, drops him straight through the table. And this, more than anything, like, I love Suzuki's facial expressions where he puts his tongue out and he's like and all that, and he does his mad smiles and stuff. This match is perfect for that. He does it all the way through. He does his mad smiling and stuff, and like he gets powerbomb through it, drop through a table, and he's just there on the floor just laughing his head off. And I just think it's superb. But it's the back and forth between these two. They always tell a good story. Like I say, I'm a massive John Moxley fan as well. I'm a massive Suzuki fan. So anytime these two face each other, I'm going to make sure I watch it, and I am well into these matches. There's good, brutal back and forth, you know, the chops, as we always see, the elbows. Some of the elbows in this match, it sounded like someone's eardrum got burst and you could hear it. That's how strong some of the elbows were. At one point as well, Suzuki ends up taking a full-blown chair shot to the top of his head. Like, the referee's in the corner doing whatever, and he misses it, or they knock him out the way. I can't quite remember. But the chairs, if you've seen the chairs in New Japan, again, they're different to the ones that are used in other companies. You know, they're quite poor, to be fair. It's the ones with the solid, well, not solid, like a velvety middle. But obviously when Mox hits Suzuki on top of the head, Suzuki doesn't even try and get a hand up, you know, like they normally get a hand up, don't they, to obviously protect themselves. They don't even try and get a hand up, just takes it fully on the head, and the middle just pings straight off. So then Mox goes and picks another chair up. The ref, that's it, the ref takes the chair away, and that's when he hits him, with that chair. We end up with Suzuki taking a Death Rider. He kicks out at 2, and then they get up, and the next thing is they've both got chairs again, and they're dueling exactly the same as they were at the beginning of the match. He takes another Death Rider, and then a third one for John Moxley to get the win. So although Mox gets the win and retains the title, Suzuki still comes out looking like an absolute brutal machine, taking 3 Death Riders before he's pinned. Which I think was a really good idea. And then after the match, Zack Sabre Jr. comes down and attacks John Moxley with his belt, and then goes on to challenge him for the title. That's the end of the match. But yeah, so number 4 that was. Like I say, again, could have been a couple of different ones. They faced on Dynamite, and we've had tag team matches as well. We've had Eddie Kingston and John Moxley versus Lance Archer and Suzuki. We've had Lance Archer and Suzuki, I think, was it Mox versus and Nagata as well. So there's different versions that we could have had, but for me this one was the best. I think it might have been the first time they faced them, not 100%, but I mean they were just literally perfect opponents, and they were pretty much same like-minded psychos in the ring. So that was number 4. Number 3 we're going to go for against, hopefully I don't botch this name. This is the problem when I start talking about New Japan. I'm terrible with pronunciations and accents and stuff, so hopefully I don't botch this. Number 3 for me is against Minoru. If you know who that is, it might not be the way I've pronounced it. For the GHC World Heavyweight Championship at Destiny, and this obviously was for Noah in Japan. So back in 2015, the whole of the Suzuki Gun were exiled from New Japan Pro Wrestling, so they decided to invade Noah. It went on for about a year long, I think it was in the end. Suzuki obviously got over massively as a big top heel in Noah at the time. He defeated Minoru for the GHC Heavyweight Championship. And the invasion storyline wasn't the best, but to be honest, it did a couple of things. It opened up a lot of people's eyes to Noah. Like before this, I didn't know who Noah was as a company. I only thought there was one major promotion in Japan, which was obviously New Japan. So I was watching New Japan, but I didn't know nothing of Noah until one of my favourite wrestlers goes and turns up there. What am I going to do? I'm going to watch it. Same as it's happened for years, where wrestlers swap between companies, and then people who were watching them all of a sudden come in. I know a lot of people that watch AEW come in at different stages depending on who turned up. Like there's people that are massive Adam Cole fans didn't end up watching AEW until obviously Adam Cole come in. I haven't been, as I say, I wouldn't class myself as a Noah fan. I have kept up to date with a lot of the stuff, mainly via the likes of Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, but this was my first introduction to the company and obviously to the wrestler Marufuji. So this was the rematch for the title. Like I say, the storyline wasn't the best, but we did get to see some really good matches from Suzuki. And he was doing a lot of technical wrestling as well, which some of the matches have announced before, like obviously the Ishii one, the Moxie one, not really technical, but in this you pick like an arm and use arm bars and arm breakers and try and work on certain body parts, which is another style of Suzuki's game that he can do, which we've seen with certain type of wrestlers that he faces. Suzuki though in this match does control pretty much the whole of the match. I'd say about 70%, 80% of the match is Suzuki controlling the match. He'll hit big moves, he gets a couple of close falls, like say he's working the arm breakers, arm bars, headlocks and stuff like that, so he is pretty much dominating the match. It looks like it's going to be going one way and one way only, which is a retain. Then for the last 10 minutes I'd say, Marufuji ends up doing an absolute phenomenal comeback. Them knee strikes he keeps hitting. He'll hit the running knee strike and knocks Suzuki, makes him go like leggy but dizzy, and then hits him again, and there's one point he hits him like literally square in the face, and Suzuki just goes down to his knees and then onto his face, but then you can still see him smiling because it's Suzuki. Why would he not be smiling if he's just been decked in the face? Right near the end we get an attempted run-in, which luckily was stopped, and that didn't interfere in the match, because this probably, if there was the interference that was planned or looked like it was planned, obviously it got stopped, so that would obviously have been the plan, but if the interference would have happened and gone ahead, this probably wouldn't have made my top 5. But then again, the first match that they had may well have done. But this match is available if you haven't seen it. If you've only got, say, New Japan World, or if you're not big into Noah, go on to YouTube. This whole match has been put up on YouTube. So just type in Suzuki vs Marufuji, Destiny, and the whole match is on there for you to watch. But a really good watch, definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of Suzuki. Like I say, he ends up having a big comeback, especially with like the knee strikes. I think he did a tombstone as well at one point, and he ends up taking the victory and taking his title back off the New Japan Invaders from Suzuki-gun. He ends up taking it back to the land of Noah. So that is number 3, and like I say, available to watch on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Going on quickly now to number 2. Again, like I say, there's so many opponents here that I couldn't include, because obviously it's top 5. There's so many opponents that I could have had numerous matches in. But the one that I always think of, and is a big go back to of mine, like there's probably, to be fair, these 5 I do tend to rewatch quite a bit, but the top 2 are the ones I rewatch the most, which obviously makes sense for them to be in my top 2. So his number 2 match is against Hiroki Goto, hair versus hair match for Never Openweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 12. Wrestle Kingdom 12 is a great pay-per-view as well if you haven't seen it yet, and you've got New Japan World, or you're looking to sign up to New Japan World. go on to it and just watch Wrestle Kingdom 12 right the way through. I think it's a fantastic pay-per-view. But this for me is the best, and I'm going to say it now, the best never openweight championship title match. Goto, I think, is brilliant. I think he's really underrated from a lot of fans. I think he could easily be a world champion, but so could Suzuki. For the fact that Suzuki's only won the world championship in nowhere and never in New Japan is always one thing that always shocked me. Suzuki easily could have been a world champ, but he's like one of them guys who doesn't really need the title to cement his legacy. Like, say, he's been going on for about 35 years now, and if you say Minoru Suzuki, 9 times out of 10 people are going to know at least of his name and his reputation. For God's sakes, the dude recently made news this week for having a wrestling match on the Bullet Train in Japan. Who does that? Suzuki. Again, another brutal match straight off from the start. They're getting into it. Suzuki even nearly chokes out. He nearly strangles him unconscious within the first couple of minutes. Suzuki though does control again most of this match. Throws Goto around the ring. He's literally flinging him around the ring left, right and centre. He's hitting all of his normal, his machine gun chops and stuff, easily controlling the match. But Goto eventually hits on Avalanche. Yushi Goroshi. Terrible pronunciation, but I'm pretty sure that's it. He hits one of them off the top, and then he hits his GTR for the win and to retain his title, because he was the never openweight champion going into this, and then he takes a retain. Suzuki obviously is a former never openweight champion himself, but this match is absolutely phenomenal. Definitely worth checking out. Like I say, if you get New Japan World, go on, watch Wrestle Kingdom 12 right the way through. Or if you haven't got time for that, just watch this match and then go back to the others at a later date. And obviously, like I say, it's hair versus hair match, so if some people are only familiar with Suzuki since he's come over from, say, like AEW with that, and he's only got like probably a bit more than what I've got right now, because I need to pick this off again. And he has his swirls and stuff. Back then, he used to have like a big hair bit at the back there. He's always had strange hairstyles, like big bit of hair there at the back. So anyway, after he loses the match, he takes the clippers and shaves it off himself, stays true to his word and to the match, and he shaves his own head after. As I said, it was a hair versus hair. See, I had this down really for me, is I remember doing predictions for this pay-per-view, and I predicted Suzuki, mainly because Suzuki, like I say, is my favourite Japanese wrestler, probably of all time. But I remember thinking, well, Goto's got hair down here, Suzuki's got this, so surely a hair versus hair match, you'd expect the person with the longer hair to lose the hair, but not always necessarily, as probably took him about 2 minutes to take that bit of back lump off. I remember him doing like the top and that, but it didn't really make much of a difference. So yeah, there we have it, number 2. So I'll run down now from 5 down to 2 before we get number 1. Number 5 is versus Tomohiro Ishii at G1 Climax 30. Number 4 is versus John Moxley for the IWGP United States Championship at New Beginning, which has now been replaced to the IWGP British Championship thanks to Will Ospreay. Number 3 versus Murafuji for the GHC World Championship. That's at Destiny in the company of Noah. Is number 2 matches versus Ruki Goto, hair versus hair match for Never Openweight Championship back at Wrestle Kingdom 12. So number 1, what could be number 1 for Suzuki? So this is the match I tell people about. When I talk about Suzuki, this is the match I say to them, go and watch this. It's brilliant. It's the match I go back and rewatch all the time. I rewatched it as part of a thing so I can sit and take a couple of little notes. And obviously work out my ranking system, that like I always do. But then I rewatched it again, so I watched this match twice compared to everything else, which I watched once. But it's against Kazuchika Okada. What a surprise! They've had some phenomenal matches over the years. Even the match at Royal Quest not too long ago. That was superb as well. Which unfortunately Suzuki lost. See, that's the thing, is like, Suzuki for me, I never understand why he hasn't been IWGP heavyweight champion, but nevertheless, his match against Okada comes in at number 1, and it's at Suzuki's 30th anniversary. So they've done a 30th anniversary show. It was like a festival thing, and it was done outside. So if I've said that, you probably already know which match I'm talking about. It's the one where they talk about Okada versus Suzuki in the rain. So obviously it was done outside, and it starts to downpour. So by the time it gets to the main event, which is this match, like I say, Suzuki's 30th anniversary, I think this match was, I haven't wrote any of the dates down, I should have done really. I think this match is about 2018. If I remember right, it's June 2018, well, maybe June 23rd, 24th, about 23rd, I think. June 23rd, 2018, that's what I'm going with anyway. So if you need to look for it, it is actually available on New Japan World, and it's actually part of the free as well, because if you go on New Japan World and you don't have a subscription, there is some free content on there. This match is actually on there, it's a free match. So anyone who hasn't seen it can go and obviously watch it. Like I say, at the time of the main event, which is this match, it's already downpour, the ring's soaking, you know, and then the fans are all around, stood around the barricade around the ring, and they've all got the rain max on and stuff, because like I say, it's been raining for quite some time at this point. But yeah, the Rainmaker versus the Rainmaker in the rain. Even the photos, the photographs from this match, the stills that they've done throughout the match, they managed to take photos of them. The photos from this are just phenomenal as well. Not just the match, not just obviously watching these guys wrestle in the rain. And I know there is obviously there's been loads of people that have wrestled in the rain. It's not like these are the first people to ever do it. But obviously, with being in a major company like Japan, two fantastic wrestlers, two of the best Japanese wrestlers of all time facing each other as well, to celebrate Suzuki's 30th. All that added in together just makes it just phenomenal. It's a great feeling, it's a great atmosphere. It's not a massive atmosphere, it's not like the Tokyo Dome, but it's a great atmosphere for the people that are there. And obviously just the added on with the rain and stuff, like say the photographs, like if just something as simple as like a chop, slap, a punch, like you can see the rain coming off the different body parts as they connect, it's just coming off them, and it adds so much to it. Suzuki gets sang to the ring. I'm not sure on the lady who sings it, which I should have really looked up to be able to say her name in this video, but I didn't. So he gets sang to the ring, which is something I'm not used to, but looks really cool nonetheless. Here singing in the rain as he comes up with his towel over his head. He's wearing white as well, which to be fair is really risky for someone wrestling in the rain. It was lucky that his shorts, his trunks didn't go see-through, wrestling in white. And then when he removes his towel, I always forget about this part, when he removes his towel, we have a blonde Suzuki. Right? He has the short hair, obviously with the swirls in like he normally does, but he looks blonde. And it's just something, it's just a look I'm not used to, which I should be, because I've rewatched this match loads of times, but it always still gets me to go, yeah, this is when he had this blonde look, wasn't it? So he had this bit with his bit at his back. I mean, years and years ago, he used to just have normal hair, back when he was younger. But yeah, so he has the blonde hair, which is obviously a surprise to anyone who hasn't seen him with blonde hair. Starts off in the ring, good bit of back and forth to start with. Suzuki takes control, working on Okada's arm. He does the arm bars and the arm breakers again, same as what he did in the other match we were talking about before. Both of them, they have a couple of little slips here and there. I mean, they're wrestling in rain, so it's obviously going to happen. Like before they come out, it's wet. As they're wrestling, it's still coming down. There's a couple of little slips and stuff, but I just think it adds to it rather than takes anything away from it. But like I say, he does dominate a good solid portion of the match against Okada, who's obviously one of the greatest, if not the greatest world champion in New Japan history. So yeah, he does dominate a lot, which I think's good, because obviously it's celebrating his anniversary. And then we have Suzuki getting Okada into the octopus stretch. He's trying his best to try and get the submission finish. You know, the timekeeper is shouting over to let them know there's not long left. He keeps trying to get the submission, tries to get the victory that way, and then we get the bell toll, and the match ends in a time limit draw. Which I think, do you know what, it's fair play. Obviously, Okada was red hot at the time, as he still pretty much is now. And obviously, they still wanted to keep Suzuki being strong on his anniversary. No one just wants a pointless victory for the sake of it. So I think this was fair play to do a time at draw. It went the full 30 minutes. And like I say, Suzuki did dominate most of the match. So in my eyes, Suzuki won. But just in the scorecards, he didn't. So there we have it, my top 5 Minoru Suzuki matches from his 35-year career. Absolute phenomenal athlete, phenomenal talent. He's just superb in every way. I love him. I think he's brilliant. But yeah, there you have it. That's my top 5. So let me know, as always, in the comments. Let me know your top 5 Suzuki matches. Let me know if you agree with mine, if you disagree, if there's some you'll take out, if there's some you put in. Obviously, like I say, I done it where I stuck with 5 different opponents. You don't necessarily have to. It's just I didn't really want to end up with, like I say, some of these are perfect opponents. So like I didn't want to end up with, say, 3 Suzuki Okada matches and 2 Suzuki Ishii matches, because although, you know, they're all brilliant, a lot of them remain the same as the others, because it's the same 2 guys wrestling. So there you have it. That is my top 5. So as always, thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Again, like I say, shout out to David Anderson for sorting me out my thumbnails. Sometimes I don't always remember to shout them out, but you know, I've got to make sure to do that because he does a phenomenal job. And again, another little cheeky shout out to Corbin for letting me use his New Japan World subscription. Saves me about £8 a month. So as always, guys, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out some more wrestling related content coming your way soon. I'll have some more 2K videos uploaded at some point this week. I've just managed to send my game over from my PS4 to my PS5. So as soon as I've worked that out properly, I'll be able to start posting more videos. Big shout out to anyone that watched the Rock versus Roman Reigns match at 2K23. That video is now my highest viewed video in my YouTube history. Which stems from like January, but that's on 4.8 thousand views at the moment. So it's like what, 4,800. So thank you to anyone that has watched that. I will be putting more content out, like I say, as soon as I figured out what I'm doing. More top 5s will be coming in the future, and more wrestling figure unboxing videos as well. So as always, thank you for watching, and be sure to come back again soon.